going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do my WEC 53 Henderson versus Pettis predictions. As you can hear in the background, we've got this heater rolling. Very, very cold weather this time of year for Florida. Very unusual. Going to run over the main card, the 3 fights that are more than likely going to be televised. Going to run over those, break them down. Luckily, YouTube has, it looks like, given me the opportunity to make videos longer than 15 minutes as long as it's under an hour. So I'll try to go into depth on some of these fights in the future. And I'll try to even start with this video to try to go a little bit more into what I think is going to happen, because usually I have to rush the videos to try to get out what I think is going to happen. But let's break these fights down. First fight of the night, Donald Cerrone taking on Chris Hordeski. Let's look at Donald Cerrone first. Donald Cerrone, Muay Thai practitioner, good in the clinch. Has really improved specifically with his wrestling. He's shown deficiencies in that in the past. You can go back to both Ben Henderson fights. He admitted that was an area of his game that he needed to improve upon, and really showed some bright spots in those improvements against Jamie Varner in their last fight in the rematch. He's a very good grappler on the ground, talented with his bottom and his top game with his jiu-jitsu. And like I said, his Muay Thai is very good. He's good in the clinch, mixes it in well there as well. Chris Hordeski, talented kickboxer, decent wrestling, good grappler on the ground. Primarily made his name in the IFL before that went under, then ended up transitioning into the WEC. This is an interesting fight. Both of these guys, talented strikers. Really, when I looked at this and I was trying to see what may happen in this fight, if Donald Cerrone chooses to exchange with Chris Hordeski, this really could be a toss-up. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is Cerrone's going to use his striking. He's going to be technical. He's going to look to try to initiate some clinch situations, maybe look for some takedowns, mix that in. And I think he's going to either try to, land some knees, some elbows in the clinch, or look for some takedowns possibly to put Hordeski on his back, look for some dominant positions, and try to maybe go for a sub on the ground or some ground and pound. So I think Cerrone's going to take this one. I think he's going to come in with a good game plan. If, for whatever reason, he tries to exchange with Hordeski and get into, a technical chess match, the possibility lies there that he could get caught and could get TKO'd by Hordeski or even knocked out. But I think he's going to have a smart game plan, and I think he's going to come in and use a lot of clinching, mix in some wrestling, I think, as well, look for some dominant positions on the ground. I think he's going to TKO Hordeski. That's my pick. I'm going to say late second, early third round for Donald Cerrone. All right, on to the next fight. Dominic Cruz taking on Scott Jorgensen for the 135-pound bantamweight title. Dominic Cruz has really showed, some proficiencies with his offensive wrestling and his takedown defense. Has beaten everybody other than Uriah Faber. He's got good boxing and kickboxing. Good in the clinch. Good with distance. Good with his reach. He's a pretty talented grappler on the ground as well. He's taking on Scott Jorgensen, who primarily is talented with his wrestling. He's got a good jab, likes to mix in some combinations in the pocket to try to use his wrestling to mix it in, and then surprise his opponents, with the fake shot and landing some shots, some overhand rights, and really has got a high pace. He, uses a high tempo with his motor. Both of these guys got very, very good conditioning. Really, I think Cruz is going to try to keep the distance. I think he's got good enough takedown defense that he's not going to be caught, by surprise with Jorgensen trying to do the 1-2 combinations and looking for takedowns. I think he's going to use his reach, be the more technical striker in this fight, and I think he's going to catch Jorgensen probably late third, early fourth. I think he is going to, throw Jorgensen's timing off in the pocket by being technical, and again with the reach, Jorgensen's going to have to, jump in and out of the pocket and risk being caught. And I think that Dominic Cruz is going to capitalize off a mistake with Jorgensen jumping into the pocket. Like I said, probably late third, early fourth round, and I think he's going to TKO Scott Jorgensen to retain his 135-pound bantamweight title, so that is my pick. All right, on to the main event. This is going to be a good one. Ben Henderson taking on Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis, Taekwondo black belt, has really shown some improvements with his wrestling. We saw that in the Shane Roller fight. Talented grappler on the ground as well. He's taking on Ben Henderson, who himself, Taekwondo black belt, either a purple or brown belt in BJJ at this point. Good wrestling, has really improved with his jab and his boxing, mixing in his striking with his wrestling primarily. This is a really interesting fight. Again, like I said, Anthony Pettis has shown a lot of improvements as of late. He looked very good against Shane Roller. It's a tough one to call, but I really think that Ben Henderson, is going to be able to keep the standing. I don't know why I think that. I could be wrong on that. The way that Pettis looked against Roller, he could just roll in and, use the good jab, mix it up, be technical, look for the takedowns. But Henderson has really shown, that he is done well with being able to deal with guys that try to come in and shoot on him. He's looked good on the bottom against guys with his bottom and his top game with his jiu-jitsu. I just think that he's going to be able to, use his boxing, use his wrestling, use his takedown defense. I think he's going to overwhelm Pettis. I think he may even look for some clinch situations to try to slow Pettis down and try to, nullify him being able to stand on the outside and be technical. If he's able to do that, I think that Henderson should win this fight. Pettis is a tough kid. I don't know if Henderson's going to get a stoppage in this fight. I'm going to say this one goes to a decision. I think Henderson will be able to do enough and win 3 rounds. Again, this is going to be an interesting fight. It really is a interesting one to call and a tough one to call. But I think Henderson will be able to do enough with his wrestling, with his boxing, mixing that together, using the clinch to kind of throw Pettis off. And I think he will win at least 3 rounds to take a unanimous decision and retain his title. So those are my picks. So leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive, as always. Let me know what you think. This should be a good night of fights. Don't be surprised if we see some upsets in this card because these are some very, very interesting matchups, especially with the main event. Pettis has looked very, very good as of late. I just think in that fight that Henderson, I think he's going to be able to do enough to take that. So that's where I'm looking at on that fight. So anyways, like I said, leave your comments, constructive, negative, positive. Let me know what you think. And I will try to be back to do a review on this one. So you guys, take it easy.